Good morning, good morning. Good morning. I was waiting for the little countdown thing. I don't know if I was supposed to be ready for that or not. Oh well, I'm just going to start talking. Welcome to my MindFit Mornings, called MindFit Mornings because I know from personal experience just how important it is. If you want to achieve anything, you have to start your day off with a positive mindset. It helps you clear your mind and improves your mood and your energy levels. And obviously, that helps you set the tone for the rest of your day. And then that helps you allow to focus on your task and the commitments. And of course, you probably, well, no, you're more likely to actually accomplish everything you set your mind to that day when you've got yourself in the right headspace. And that's why I like to call it mind fit. Right. So, when you're in there, when you start your day with the right mindset and being mind fit, it can also, it's been shown, tons of studies have shown that being mind fit helps you reduce your stress levels. And obviously, that has tons of benefits for your overall health. So this is a 2-week series, and the first week is identifying the negative aspects of like childhood programming patterns, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then Wednesday is going to be about moving from with how you deal with self-doubt and negative self-talk. And Friday is going to be those unconscious commitments that you have, which are operating and sabotaging you anyway, and as well as guilt. And then week 2 is going to focus on a conscious reset towards being more positive. Overcoming those barriers and defying patterns is on Monday. And whether you're living your life as a hell yes or a hell no on Wednesday. And Friday is living with self-love. And then on the 19th of August, I'll share with you a link to self-love, a self-love mastermind, which will be available to registered members only. So you'll have to remember to sign up for that. So if this is the first time you've ever joined me, I'm Pamela Hartnell, and this is MindFit Mornings. It's our new series and giving you all the tools so that you can live your life by design rather than existing by default. And today's focus is on childhood patterns. So as adults then, we can find ourselves continuously repeating negative patterns of behavior over and over, even if those patterns don't serve us or are self-destructive in some way. You know, we can find ourselves living the same kind of toxic relationship that we grew up watching our parents struggle with, or develop a pattern of issues with food or substance abuse that we maybe watch other family members struggle with. Or we can even find ourselves reacting to things. We don't know why we're reacting the way we are or how we are. I mean, have you ever stopped to think why you react to things the way you do? Do you ever think that, why am I like that? And then, work it out. Like, where did that come from? Who am I copying? So you may just believe that's how it is or just how you are in certain situations. But it's a good question to think about. Maybe it is you, but maybe it's not, right? Because I want you to know that you weren't born with that way of reaction, that way of reacting, or that way of being or living. You learned all of that, right? You learned how to deal with certain things by what you were exposed to as a child. You learned to cope with difficult situations in healthy or unhealthy ways, depending on what your life was like. For example, if you grew up in a household where there was a lot of yelling and fighting, like I did, you might develop a pattern of yelling and arguing yourself when you're upset about something. I know I became a prolific door slammer for a long time. It's like so frustrating. So if you were constantly put down or made to feel unworthy, you might develop a pattern of self-doubt and self-esteem, which definitely, as again, was part of my childhood programming. But whatever the case may be for you, whatever negative patterns you have in your life, you have to discover the associated triggers and break free from them so you can change the negative impact those patterns are having on your life. And the good thing is, you know where you're triggered. You know where your unconscious patterns are when you're triggered. So we actually need those triggers, as horrible as that may be. So childhood patterns then are actually just that. They are different types of patterns that are developed during childhood. And some of them are positive and help children to learn and grow in healthy ways. Other patterns can be negative and have negative consequences for us in adulthood. I know as an adult, then I actually struggled with conflicting thoughts and behaviors for the longest time because I was fortunate enough to have a boyfriend from the uptown boy, downtown girl. And I watched my parents deal with just about everything with violence and shouting and slamming doors. Hence, I was a prolific door slammer and throwing things. I didn't do that one. But my boyfriend's parents were able to deal with things and experience in a completely different, logical and even a kind, positive way. And that created a massive conflict because it didn't, I didn't have this heart-brain coherence. Nothing really agreed, because what I knew intellectually from watching my boyfriend's family and their environment was so different from what I felt from my own family environment. So it meant that I became this door slammer at home, but was able to do things very differently when I was at my boyfriend's. So we all do this, but we all develop these patterns of behavior that are based on our early experiences and upbringing. And you know that you have those negative patterns if you struggle with things like procrastination or perfectionism or people pleasing, champion, self-sabotage and codependency. And there's a ton of them that I've gone into in other videos. I've gone into some of these things in a little bit more depth. But at various points in my life, I struggled with every single one of those things except the compulsive eating or substance abuse. But my drug of choice to deal with my trauma was education and was studying. Now I have more qualifications and hairs on my head. And I've studied something, often multiple subjects every year for 40 years, and I never gave myself a break. And that's unhealthy too. It kept my mind busy. And it kept me so totally occupied that I didn't have the space to think about all those sabotaging patterns and what the impact was on my life. So if you can identify with any of those patterns in your own life, there's probably a good indication that there's some negative programming working, and you need to break free from that. And the first way to break free from that is to become aware of it and work on changing the underlying programming. Right? Pay attention to your thoughts and your emotions and your reactions throughout the day. And if you're constantly feeling negative, or you find yourself dwelling on negative things or reacting badly, or even if you're just feeling down, more often than not, it's quite likely that you're trapped in a negative pattern. And then once you realize that, identify that cause of negativity. Okay, and I'm going to just stop for 2 seconds to say, Parker, tuning in from LinkedIn. Funny that you shared that. I used to be angry around certain people while it's polite to the rest of the world. It took me a while to understand the pattern, and root cause was patterns. I could not tolerate. I know I couldn't understand sometimes, Parker, how I could just be banging the door at home, but why I wasn't so frustrated in a completely different environment. And tuning in, Sebastian from Facebook, tuning in from Galaxy ZBX 10-A. Awesome. Sebastian, love the name MindFit Mornings. You know, it really does work, doesn't it? You've got to be MindFit, like you're physically fit, you've got to be body fit, and all the rest of it. High Tech Mother tuning in from YouTube and India. Hello, hello. Mark Sullivan, I'm on the Gold Coast. Tuning in from YouTube. All right, cool. So once you've identified then the root cause of your negativity, and triggers, I promise you, are the perfect tool for that. Because if you didn't have any internal reference, you wouldn't be reacting. All right. So exactly what's triggering your negative thoughts and emotions, and find it, and then you can work on it, because you can replace that negative patterns with positive ones and making a conscious effort to do things differently. So for example, if you're a prolific door slammer, or you yell when you're upset, just even if you can just stop yourself, right? You may not necessarily go, oh, I'm going to deal with this differently. It's not that easy, right? You can't go from being uncontrolled one day to being completely controlled the next. But whatever you need to do, just delay the uncontrolled reaction. And as you do that with more practice, you'll be able to control by responding instead, the way that you want to, which puts you back in control of your life. And I help my clients do this with a technique called pattern interrupt, which is a brilliant technique from breaking free and changing unconscious habitual responses and behaviors so that you can respond more consciously instead. And before I wrap up, David Collins, thank you for joining us. I think studying was proof to yourself that you were better than you've been told. Absolutely. And you could have achieved things even if others didn't think you could. You know, that was my mission, David. It's hard to get off that study treadmill. I know. I'm still on it. I have qualifications coming out of my ears too, but stop, because it was a lot of work that got me nowhere. You know, I don't do it to get me anywhere, honestly, David. I do it because I love knowledge. I absolutely could eat knowledge for breakfast. People have to go, take it off. Oh, Jane Jones. Hello, Jane. Replay, please, Pam. There will be a replay. You can't watch it live at the moment. If you're working, just quit that work. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be lovely. There will be a replay. And Mark Sullivan says, as very young people, we think what our parents do is the way it's done. You do, because that's the only visual and the only thing you've got to base your things around. Hello, Pam. Have a great week. Thank you, David. You have a great week too. So then, where was I going with that? So you can respond consciously. So breaking free then from negative patterns, I know can be a real challenge, okay? And it can feel like it's too hard and it's too much and it causes too much pain. But Carl Jung says there's no birth of consciousness without pain. And so many of us go through life unconscious, just reacting all over the place, right? But by making an effort to change your behaviors and thoughts and controlling your reactions so that you can respond rather than react, you can feel more in control of yourself and your life. And that means you're more in control of your happiness, right? And that'll lead to being happier and healthier. It's going to be a better way of being. And I want to leave you with a thoughtful reminder that where you're triggered, you're not free. But don't get upset with those triggers. Love them because they're showing you what you're hiding from. Okay. So that's it for me today. Remember to check out, there's a link below to access the Self-Love Masterclass when it's released. And on Wednesday, we'll be focusing on self-doubt and negative self-talk. So I want to thank you, as always, for being here. Super grateful for your time and interaction. And if you found this helpful and motivating, I would love it if you would share this with others so they can have the teachings too. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest, be sure to join my online community, and you can find all of these trainings on PamelaHartnell.com and MindFit Mornings. So my greatest wish for you, as always, is for you to be MindFit so you can live your best life. Live it with passion, reset, be authentic, and be you. Bye for now.